right?
Oh.
Am I a nice person? Like, am I a funny
No,
person?
you're
Like,
the man of my dreams,
so
Diego.
I needed to clarify, and and then I told her in Spanish, and I was just like,
How do you say it in
uh,
Spanish?
she told me, she was like, "Tú eres mi persona," and I was like,
Tú
"Nah."
eres mi persona.
hmm
You are
And
my
this, I
person.
think a lot of people say that now. I had never heard it until then. This was like 3 years ago or something like
Okay.
that, right?
Uh-huh.
No? Oh, I like your nail color.
Thanks. I had pink and I was like, this ain't it.
Why?
I wanted to try something new
Mm-hmm.
and I tried something new and like I hate those girls at the nail shop that are like, "Ugh, I don't like it." You know what girls I'm talking about?
No.
Do you get manicures ever?
It may look like it, but I do not.
Not
Keep them
that.
clean.
Yeah, like I feel like girls that like make somebody do it's like our business, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm working with clients and then they're like, we put in an offer on a house and then they're like, I like this house instead.
Mm.
And then like we get both offers accepted and like one's like an hour away and the other one's like 10 minutes away and the one that like we wrote an offer on was an hour away and that one's the one that got accepted but they
Mm.
actually don't want that one anymore, so now we have to start over. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I've been working on your nails for an hour and you mean to tell me between 0 and 60 minutes not at one point did it cross your mind to tell me to stop until I was completely done?
So you could have decided after the pinky was done,
Exactly.
but you had me do the whole full set, and now you want me to start all over. Do people really do that? You got to pay twice as much?
No, that's the thing, you don't, and that's why girls do it. I mean, unless you
Um,
have like a asshole.
I get uncomfortable even if I'm like getting a haircut, and then he'll be like, "Want me to trim the top?" And I'm like, "Nah, leave it." And then he does like the sides, and I'm like, "Damn, yeah, can you trim the top?" I don't even want to do that, and that's gonna take 2 minutes, but I don't like doing that. So I'm just like, nah, just leave it. It's okay. Do it next time. But some people apparently full job complete, start all over.
Honestly, though, like, I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like barbers, I think, I mean, obviously, I've never been cut by a barber, but the barbers I know, I think take pride in the way they cut hair.
Mm-hmm.
The same way women who do nails, or even men, like, I honestly like when men do my nails,
Mm-hmm.
um, take pride in their work because then you're going to go out in public and they're going to be like, who cut your hair?
Mm-hmm.
So even if you feel reluctant to say, actually do the top,
Yeah.
they actually want you to say it from the beginning. Where do you go?
Stay Gold in Claremont. So there's two.
Okay, wait, is that the one next to Cream?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's the bakery, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
French
Yeah.
bakery.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I live in Egypt now. I will still make the drive. And my barber has become a legitimate, really good friend of mine, right? Hang out with him outside of the barbershop. He obviously, we talk about all different kinds of things. So they're kind of like a confidant, right? We talk like he knows my dad. He asks about him, um, and he knows how to treat people well. My barber will open up early for me sometimes. He'll cut my hair on his lunch. He'll stay late. He'll get my friends in when they can. He's like, "Yo, can you hit up Carlos for me?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he does those things. So it's a relationship that I think a lot of men value is the relationship with their barber. It's like our makeup. I feel like I look unkept if my hair is not done. Like, and I can't really let my sides grow out too long right now. I'm kind of like letting it grow, but yeah, the relationship between a man and his barber is an important one. Is your nail person as important?
Yeah, you know what's crazy? Like, it's a guy and I met him like in Rancho and like I said, I'm not like a very particular girl. I think when it comes to like nails or lashes or waxing, like with the way my lifestyle's set up, on any given day, I can be somewhere and I need a wax. I need my nails done. And sometimes it's here and sometimes it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they're available and sometimes they're not. And I hate to be like an inconsistent I don't even want to say unloyal because it's not that. It's just the way my life is. I can't always go to the same guy. But the thing about this guy is like, first of all, he's a man, and not a lot of girls get their nails done by a male. And I met him and his wife here in Rancho, and very sweet Vietnamese couple. And they actually turn into my clients.
Mm-hmm.
So like after I don't know a year, they wanted to buy a house, and like they've been renting here. The landlord raised the rent. I helped them like get their rent lowered and negotiated with their property management company.
Mm-hmm.
But he like ended up buying a Tesla, so it didn't work out. But he did move nail shops, and I did follow him, and he like found me on Venmo because that's how I tip him. And he's like, "Hey Rochelle, I moved nail shops, like follow me." And his nail shop's actually closer to where I live now, so it worked out. But like last week I needed to get my nails done because one of my nails chipped,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's like a pet peeve. Like I can't stand when yeah. So I called and I was like, "Is he available?" And the receptionist was like, "No." And I was like, "Dang." So then I went to another nail shop, which was unusual because I'd never been there. And then like they were ran by Chinese people, which is very rare. And but they were sweet ladies, super overpriced. They did a great job, but they were like sisters that like own the company together, and they were really busy. And I went on like a I don't know, like a random weekday. Um but I want to go back there. They're just pricey.
How much is it for, let's say, a mani pedi?
Okay, so I don't get just like regular. So on my toes, I get gel, which is like a thicker, longer lasting, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like $30 for a pedicure and then an additional $15 for gel.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's that. And then on my hands, I get a manicure with dip powder, which is basically where they dip your finger into this powder individually.
Finger? Your whole finger? Not just
Your
a nail?
your just
I'm
the
kidding.
nail,
I'm
just
kidding.
the nail.
Yeah. It's like fun dip. It's like,
Yeah, just the nail. But like the thing about it is that I mean you wouldn't notice, or maybe you would. Maybe you would.
I'm quite observant.
Yeah. Maybe you would. Okay, so nail polish versus dip. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
dip
Mm-hmm.
covers your whole entire nail. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
When it's a polish, it's literally just over the nail. When
Okay.
it's dip, it's like in the crevices of your cuticle.
Okay.
So it's more,
It's more.
it's more.
Right.
Exactly. So with dip, they have to dip your finger into a powder 4 different times. And then after every time, they have to paint over it so that it dries up and hardens and becomes this thick
Mm-hmm.
manicure.
Right.
So like manicure alone, $30. Then you get dip, and then that's another 15. So you're definitely walking out like 120.
Okay. So for me, and this is just preference, it's not a must, I am particular about hands and feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't have to, I would prefer that 100%.
Uh-huh.
They don't have to be done like that or acrylics or like whatever it is,
Uh-huh.
but your hands need to be taken care of.
Right.
There is, in my opinion,
Uh-huh.
no reason why my hand should look nicer than any woman's,
I
right?
agree.
And I don't think it's difficult to keep your hands well kept, right? Again, they don't have to have the like acrylics or any of those things, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like if your fingers or if you have like dirty nails or like
Mm-hmm.
if they're just like unkept, that to me, I'm just like, how? Why? And I would prefer that they'd be done, but well kept. That's the hands. If your toesies aren't done, absolutely not. Get away from me. Like,
You're harsh, Diego.
it's just, I don't want to look down and like, I don't know, say you're watching TV or like whatever it is, say I'm cuddling, it doesn't matter. Or say we're having dinner and then I'm looking, I don't want it to look like I'm looking at my feet.
Right.
Like,
But is it valid to say the same about men with haircuts? Because like
absolutely.
one of my good friends, is a barber,
Mm-hmm.
and he obviously takes pride, like what you're saying about your barber in your barbershop, takes pride in his cuts to the point where like people go in there and there's 9 other barbers, and like some of their clients like slide in his DMs and are like, I want to get cut by you because I
Uh-huh.
like the way you cut
Mm-hmm.
over so and so. And like after meeting him, I feel like I don't want to say this, but look at men different that don't have haircuts.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're around somebody who's a barber that always has a haircut, it's almost like what you're saying. If you don't have your nails well kept, it's like it's not that hard. So like as a woman, I think the same thing, and honestly a lot of guys don't get regular haircuts. Let's be honest.
Really?
I don't think so.
I think most men do.
You do?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think so. With the hands, though, like yes and no, because getting a haircut requires you normally to go somewhere, right? You got to make an appointment. Same thing with your nails.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have, and you can take care of your hands on your own.
Okay.
Most men can't cut their own hair. Some can. I used to cut my own hair,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, my friend cuts his own hair, but
and
he's a barber.
Yeah, and I'm not, again, they don't have to be done, but they just need to be well kept and taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't require, in my opinion, much work. You can do it yourself just to keep them nice and clean.
I'm gonna be honest, doing my own nails isn't like
But you're talking about doing your
No, no,
nails. I'm
no,
talking
but
about keeping them clean,
like
keeping them well kept.
the minute my cuticles start to like peel or get dry or whatever, I'm picking at them, they're starting to bleed. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this, and I run to the nail shop.
Yeah.
But that's something about me though. I don't know if other women are very like particular or like have a sense of urgency when it comes to their nails, but I guess I'm just someone that is.
And that's again, that's just preference for me, right? That's just
Preference,
me.
I love it.
It is a preference. But as far as like haircut, my brother used to cut my hair once a week starting like 7th grade when he learned how to cut hair. And when I say learned, I mean he learned by trial and error, and that error was cutting me all the time.
Like literally slicing you.
Yeah, like cutting me. I think I counted. The most amount of times that he's cut me was like 17 times. And I used to get
in one sitting?
Yes.
That's dangerous.
I'm
You
12,
were
he's
bloody?
15, right? Or like 16.
Uh-huh.
I was in like sixth grade.
Uh-huh.
So he's like 14, like learning how to cut hair. Bowl cut. You should see my 6th grade ID picture. Bowl cut. 7th grade looks fine. By 8th grade, he's just like, I'm not cutting your hair anymore. He's like, learn how to cut it on your own. So that's when I grew my hair out. And that's when I started to spike it all around like Dragon Ball Z.
The confidence that men have when they have haircuts, or how
Absolutely.
they feel when they walk in and versus how they feel when they walk out.
Mm-hmm. There is a video or a meme or whatever it was with this guy. It's Spice Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And he has like a video and he's driving in the car and he's all, like shy and just kind of, and then once they start cutting his hair and the lineup and everything like that, his confidence grows. Yeah, it's a real thing.
Send it to me.
Yeah. But it's kind of like the same thing for you, right? Like if you go in to get your nails done, let's say you were getting your hair done and your makeup done, because again, to me, your haircut represents kind of like all of those things. You look different, or you can look different from having a big old mane that's all like unkept, and then just a haircut makes you look completely different.
That's
Is it
true.
the same for you guys?
Yeah, like I get my hair done like, I don't know, every 8 weeks or so. Like
How
I'm
many?
big on
How
like
many?
every 8 weeks.
Oh, 8 weeks. Okay. I thought you said every week.
No, my mom does.
Really?
Yeah, and it's crazy because like our hair lady literally cuts like my mom, my dad, my brother, me, my sister, my brother-in-law.
You're like the dog? No.
Right? No, she's a sweet lady. We followed her around as well too. Like she was at a salon and then they sold it and then she went to another one and we followed her, and she's a sweet lady. But I've always been the kind of client that's like, this is your area of expertise. Like, do what you think looks good on me. Like, whenever I sit in the chair, she's always like, so what do you want? And I'm like, Claudia, help. I'm like, should I go lighter? Should I like just tone and stay dark? Or like, I don't know. And she'll just be like, stay dark, or like, let's do blonde. And I'm just
Right.
like, okay. But I think a lot of girls are very particular when it comes to a lot of things, but I'm just not that girl. I've never been that girl. I don't like people to tell me how to do my job, so I'm not going to tell a hairstylist how to do hers. I just say, I trust your judgment, like make it look good. And
It always comes out.
yeah, I've never really like gotten my nails done and been like, oh my God, ew, like redo, or like walked out of the hair salon and been like, oh my God, I hate this. So how long have you been going to that guy?
Like 10 years.
Oh, is
So
he the owner?
him and his brother.
Oh, they're the
Yeah.
owners.
It's kind of like cheating on your mechanic.
Yeah, that's
Or
what I was gonna say. Like I would always go back and forth between Oakland and here, and like there would be some months that I wouldn't come home, so I would be like, in between like a haircut or whatever. And I always thought about that, and sometimes I even think about going to other people, and then I'm like, nah.
there.
Well, imagine
Right.
what it's like in real estate. Like, I
Oh.
wish you would.
So we were, or we were talking about that last time. How you, obviously, you as a realtor have a contract that you have that you cannot work with anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Loan officers don't have that,
Right.
and that sucks, donkey stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, like my brother has had clients that he's worked with for years,
Yeah.
2 years, right? I helped them on their credit, following up, years of follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. And then when it gets to the tail end, it's just like, oh no, I went with someone else. It's like, so all that work that you put in, which again, it's literally years at times, you don't
Yeah.
get paid for it.
Right.
Like they don't have a contract that you can sign. It's just like, you're going to commit to working with me.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do all this work, and then at the end, and I don't think that most people know what goes into the home buying process,
Right.
right? So it's like, oh, well, yeah, like I want someone. It's just like, I've done so much to help you get to where you're at. And it's time, and everybody knows time is money. And some people's time is a lot more valuable than others.
Yeah.
And it's like, I could have been doing something else, right? Or I could have been focusing on someone who was actually going to commit and to appreciate all the things that we're trying to do for them. And it sucks that that doesn't always transpire and people don't understand it.
Well,
Um,
like everything these days is like, I don't want to say casual, but like the way realtors dressed 25 years ago when my dad was a realtor was like suit and tie, you know?
I would say 3 years ago
It was
was
suit and
different.
tie.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wasn't a realtor 3 years ago, so
My brother and my business partner and I would talk about that. Um, there were some realtors, and again, it just kind of became popular to, like, I
be
would say,
comfortable.
yeah. And
Mm. I know, and
nah,
you guys have tattoos too, so
yep,
it's
even that.
mm-hmm.
We got to a point, my brother and I kind of got to a point where it's like, if you're gonna work with us, you're gonna work with us, and if you're not gonna work with me because I have tattoos, fine. But
Yeah.
it also depends on the demographic,
Yeah.
right? And it depends on what you're doing and who you're talking to.
Yeah, I'm such an athletic girl, you know what I mean? Like I want to wear leggings all the time. I've worked for Adidas, Nike, Asics. I've worked for a lot of athletic companies. So literally half my wardrobe is concert t-shirts and Adidas, Nike, and Asics. So I feel like, and then also like working from home for 2 years prior to real estate, and then I was a substitute teacher prior to that. So I really wore whatever I wanted. And like being a realtor, I mean, I think in 2023, that's how it is, like
It's definitely changed. When I used to work at the bank, it was mandatory. Now you don't even have to do that
at
at the
banks.
banks. Yeah, you don't
Mm,
have to do that. But when I
mm,
worked at a bank, you had to wear your
mm,
suit jacket,
like
and
your blazer and everything.
I would not. And then my manager would be like, dude, we have to wear your jacket. I'm like, Barb, it's
Oh,
hot.
you're a rebel.
No, it was just so I get hot. And I would also
Mm.
wear like tweed and things like that.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it's heavy and
exactly.
uncomfortable and itchy.
And not itchy, relax.
No,
Um,
like it is.
Sure, fashion takes sacrifice. No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
But
It hurts to be cute. Like girls wearing heels, like you gotta
mm-hmm,
suffer.
mm-hmm. And for me in particular,
Mm-hmm.
when I worked at the bank,
Mm-hmm.
so many people try to fight me.
Fight you?
Oh yeah,
Be-
microphone closer.
because what?
Because people get upset when it comes to their money, which is understandable. Um,
Explain, elaborate, please. Fight you?
yes, they would give me all the like the difficult
Oh,
clients,
okay.
right? And I remember one specific time it was a difficult client, and my manager Barb, who was like my work mom, just like I treat my real mom in real life and like mess around with her and do all these different things.
We gotta bring her in
Is
for a podcast.
I'm shooting with her tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, um,
In Spanish?
yeah. It was
I
gonna
love
be
that.
more on a effective communication workshop that she does.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna record that. It'll be in Spanish, but it's tools to obviously communicate effectively.
That's
So like
awesome.
active listening and a bunch of different things. So I'm gonna start shooting a series with her while she gives me that workshop. But I did have somebody who was really upset, and I would start at 9:15 or 9:30, right? I was like the late banker, 9:30 to 6:30. So I stroll in at like 9:10 or something like that, and then I'm walking with Barb, my manager, into her office,
Hmm.
and she's unlocking it. And this guy was so close to me. You know what a flat tire is when someone steps on the back of your shoe? That's what he did.
On purpose?
That's how close he was to me. And then like I turned around, and then he just put his finger in my face. He's like, "You're going to help me." And then I looked at him, and I was like, "You can take a seat there." And I was like, "A banker will be right with you." He's like, "No, you're gonna help me now." And I was like, "You can go ahead and take a seat right there." And I was like, "And a banker will be right with you." And then he like went and sat down. So I sat down with my manager, and she's just like,
I'm done.
she was just like, Diego, she's just like, "Can you go help him, please?" And I was like, "Barb, I don't start till 9:30." And then I was like, "Have Melissa help her or help him." And then she's like, "Melissa's not going to be able to handle him." And I can see him just like glaring at me. And I was like, "No, like, you don't put your finger in my face and tell me what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do." And I was like, "No, Barb, like, I'm not going to help him. I don't on the clock till 9:30. She's like, "Diego, can you please go help him?" And I was like, "Fine."
So you did?
So I went over, and then I said, "Can I see your ID and your debit card?" And I was like, "Can you hand me your ID and your debit card?" And he
Hmm.
just threw it at me like a ninja star. And then it fell. So I said, "Can you please hand me your debit card and your ID,
I'm
please?"
dead.
And then he like picks it up, and then he's just like, "Tell me where my money is." And I was like, "Okay."
What?
And this guy,
Wait.
yeah, I've helped him before, right? He speaks
Oh,
Spanish.
okay.
I've spoken to him in Spanish.
But
And if
that
someone
day,
speaks Spanish, I'm going to try to make you comfortable, and I'm going to speak to you in
yeah,
Spanish, right? But some people, and I get it, like you came to this country, you learned the language,
yeah,
you want to speak in English.
uh-huh.
But I was talking to him in Spanish, and I can hear him, and he had a Bluetooth on, and I can hear him saying things, and I thought he was on the phone, but he was saying shit to me. But I looked up his account, and then I was like, "All right, give me a second." So then I went to the teller, and I'm like, "Hey," and I was like, "Do you remember this transaction?"
Mm-hmm.
And then she looked at it, and then she's like, "Oh yeah." And she's just like a Argentinian lady. She's like, "We reversed the transaction," and then she put the money into another account. And then I was like, "Oh, okay." So then I checked the account that she deposited the money in, and he's not on the account. So I so I come back to him, and then I said like, "Hey, this receipt," I was like, "It's insignificant," and I was like, "Because it was reversed," and I was like, "And it was deposited into another
You
account."
said it in Spanish or in English?
I can't remember. Um,
Mm.
but he told me, he's like, "But I have the receipt. Like, where's the money? Like, there was a deposit." And I said, "There was a deposit," and I was like, "But this receipt is insignificant because it was reversed and it was put into another account." And then he's just like, "What account?" And I was just like, "I'm gonna have to refer you back to your wife." And then he's just like, "Tell me where my money is." And then I was just like, unfortunately, I was
Does
like,
this
"I
happen a
cannot
lot?
tell you." And again, I thought he was on the phone. He's like, "Puta madre." He was saying that to me, basically. I just didn't understand. And I kept on telling him, and I was like, "I'm going to have to refer you back to your wife because I can't tell you, you're not on the account." And then out of nowhere,
The wife comes?
no. Oh, I don't know how many stories you want of people trying to fight me, but he's at the desk, right? And then
Uh-huh.
I told him like 2 or 3 times, and I was like, I can't. I have to refer you back to your wife. And then he slaps his hands down like very loud and aggressively, like that. Pushes his chair out, like gets up in like one motion. The chair goes flying into the lobby. It's a Friday. People are trying to cash their checks. It's early in the morning, and he says, "Pues fuck you." And then he's just like, "Caiga puto," like that. Pretty much means like square up. And my initial reaction, my gut reaction,
Yeah.
like I went like this because he went like that and kind of like I
Yeah.
don't know if he's gonna lunge at me, but like I went like, and then I saw all these people looking at me, and I was just like,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
"Have a nice day."
And
He's
that
just
was
like,
it.
"Caiga, levántate, puto," and I was like, "Have a nice day." And then he was like heated, right? And then my friend who was at the door, he was like, "Yo, like what?" And then I was just like, "Oh." So my friend is the one who is just like, "Welcome to Wells Fargo. What brings you in today?" So he was opening the door and doing things like that.
Yeah.
So as the guy is walking out,
Uh-huh.
he's on the phone. So what my friend does is he had the door open and then he saw him. He saw it was on his phone. So he let the door close. So as he's walking out looking at his phone, he thought the door was open and just boom, hit his face
Oh, he's
on
really
the
pissed.
door.
Like
Yeah.
he's ready to.
He threw like a little kick and punch and jab. And then he's like, "I fucking hate this bank." And then he walked out. And then my manager was like, "Do you want me to close this account?" It's like, no. Like, what do I care? It's not me
Oh,
that
you
he's
guys
mad
do
at.
that?
Oh
Like
yeah, they'll close your account
if
sometimes.
you're like acting
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
and what like mail you a check with the money in your account?
Hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So those are two. Again, that guy
Stories of a
really
banker.
wanted to fight me,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had somebody brandish a knife to me.
At the bank?
Oh yeah, like he was a cowboy. Went and showed me a big old Crocodile Dundee style knife.
And was like, if you don't give me my money, I'm gonna stab you right now.
No, he. This is the last story I'll tell because
We're
we need
doing
to have you
overtime.
talk as well. So I'm sitting at the first desk, and then a lady comes in, and she needs a new debit card,
Okay.
right?
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, "Oh, what happened to your debit card?"
Uh-huh.
And she's like, "Well, my husband, like cut it up and threw it away."
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "Yeah, he got mad, like at a transaction that I made." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Well, do you work?" And she's like, "I do." And I was just like, "Well, why don't we open up an account for you?" And then she was like, "That's a great idea." And I was like, "Okay."
Count on Diego.
So I'm talking to this lady, right? And then I noticed that she has bruises on the back of her arm, right? So then I was like, "Oh, that's someone's grabbing you." Like, so I was like, "Oh, okay." So as I'm doing her like profile and stuff like that, and I said, "Hey, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put your statements to be online. So you don't get anything in the mail and you don't get in trouble, right?" And then she said, "Oh, that's a perfect idea." She's like, "Well, can you actually put the other account that I'm on and put those statements to be online?" And I was like, "I would rather not. I'd rather keep it as it is. And then the new account will go ahead and do online statements." She's just like, "No, like I want you to put both of them online." She's like, "My husband doesn't check the mail." She's like, "I'm in charge of like all that stuff." And I was just like, I don't think it's a good idea." And then she's just like, "No, I'm telling you that I want it to be online as well."
Oh.
I was like, "All right, you got to do what the customer says, right?" So computer screen is here. She's here. So I'm clickety, clickety, clackety typing. And then I just feel a figure.
Oh.
And then there's a shadow. And then I just hear, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like, he's tall. Like 6'7", 6'8". And then I
Oh.
was just like, "Oh shit." But
He was talking to you?
no, he was talking to her.
Oh.
But he was right behind me.
Okay.
And then I see her go like, "Oh my God." And I'm like, "Oh, so this is the man responsible for all the bruises." And then he's just like, "I fucking told you." And I was like, "Sir?" And I was like, "Can you do me a favor?" And I was like, "Take a seat in the lobby." And I was like, "And I'll be right with you." And then he was just like, "I told," and there was people who are already looking. And again, she has like her head down.
Yeah.
She's
Like
embarrassed.
the public?
Yes. And again, it's a Friday. Everything happens on a Friday, and everybody's looking. And then he like would not go to the lobby, and I said, "Hey," and I was just like, "Why don't we go into this office?" And I was like, "And we can go ahead and like
Uh-huh.
discuss what's going on."
Right.
So we go into the one of the offices,
Mm-hmm.
and it's him by the window, and then there's the desk, and then it's her, and then my manager,
Mm-hmm.
right? So my manager is kind of in between,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in between the both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking, and then I forgot what it is that she says, and he like gets up and kind of like almost lunges at her. So then like I got up and I'm like, "Hey," and I put my hand on his chest, and I was just like, "I cannot have you like lunging at my manager."
Mm-hmm.
And then he like looks at me,
Mm-hmm.
and then he was like, kind of went, sat back down, and we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
So then I told him, I said, "Why don't we open up a secondary account?" And I said, "And you can be in charge of it. Like you will dictate how much goes into the account and then how much you can spend on the account. Like you can put all the restrictions and everything that you need, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And the purchase that caused him to cut up the debit card is she bought a car.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to figure out, and I'm like, "Oh, it's this lady who's a little bit off." Right? Because she started saying, she's like, "But I love it so much. She's like, the way it feels when I sit in it." And I was just like, "Oh, like you're a little off in the head." And apparently she doesn't work. Right? So like all these things are like coming to light, and he does it a second time. And this time he like really lunged like over. So again, I had to like get in the way, and I put this time like my forearm up.
That's stressful.
And I told him, and I said, "Why don't we go outside?" And then he was just like, "Go outside." And that's when he does the little cowboy. And I see, again, he has like a Crocodile Dundee style knife. And I was just like, "So that we can discuss your options." And I was just like, "So we're away from this." And then he's just like, "Let's go outside." So when we go outside, I'm standing on the curb. He's not. He's still like a foot taller than me.
Uh-huh.
And I'm 5'9.5" on a good day if I'm wearing boots. So he's again like a tall dude, and
Uh-huh.
then and then he was wearing I think it was a fireman hat or like a Vietnam vet hat, right? And then he started telling me, he's just like, "I've been in Vietnam." He was like, "I was a first responder at Katrina." He said, "And nothing has caused me more stress than this." He's just like, "I've had to mortgage my house 3 times." He's like, "I'm on a fixed income." He's like, "I'm a retired fireman." And she constantly is making all these purchases. And I was like, "But doesn't she work?" He's like, "No, she doesn't work. She goes to her friend's job and she buys lunch for 12 people like 3 times a week." And I was just like, "This is like, I can't take it." He's like, I'm so stressed out." And that's when I told him, we'll separate an account. You'll give her an allowance. I'll make sure that the debit card doesn't go through if there's no funds in the account.
I wish a man would.
So then when I was telling him that, he's just like, "Okay, like that's good. Like perfect."
Mm-hmm.
So we go inside and I'm opening up this new account
For
for him,
the
right?
oh, for him.
Yes. And
Not
again, she's a secondary on the account.
okay.
And then I'm typing. And then my phone rings and I'm like, "Leave me alone, Patrick." It's my service manager. And he calls me again and he calls me again. And I'm like, "What's up?" And then he's just like,
She's
"I
getting me in the
need
parking
you
lot.
to keep him here." And I said, "What?" He's like, "The police are on their way." He's just like, "She is legitimately like afraid and feels threatened." And he's like, "In bylaw, like he's like, she told Barb." And he's like, "In bylaw, we have to call the police." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I'm pretending to open up this account for like 20 minutes. And he's kind of like,
Stop.
"I swear."
You said pretending.
Yes. And I'm just like, click, 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 click.
And she's right in front of you?
No, they're in the office.
Oh.
Barb and the lady are in the office, and it's me
So
and him.
the
And he's
police
like, "Yo,
took
what the fuck?"
him?
He's like, "What the fuck is taking so long?" And then they send in the smallest cop I've ever seen in my life.
To get him?
Yes.
And they took him?
So He walks in, and then I see this micro mini cop. His
Stop.
voice was even high pitched. He comes in, he's like, "How you doing, sir?" And the guy turns around and he sees him, and he looks back at me like, "You motherfucker."
Oh, he thinks you. Yo, he's about to beat your ass.
Hold on.
Ah! Fuck.
So he said, "Do me a favor." He's like, "And hang out here." He's like, "I'm gonna go have a word with your wife." So he leaves me with this motherfucker. And I was just like, "Hey,
Right.
this motherfucker has a knife."
Oh, that's right.
And he just goes into the office, and it like, now when I look back, he's white knuckling the knife, and he has it on the desk.
You're lying, Diego. What?
And he's
By yourself?
he's not looking at me. He's glaring at me. And he's just looking at me, and then I was like, I can roll my seat back, but there's a file cabinet behind me, right? So I can only go back so far. And then finally, and a regular cop,
Yeah.
a detective walks in, and he's standing by the door, and I'm trying to get his attention
Yeah.
without, and I'm like, cuckoo. And the guy like kind of like finally like notices me, and then I was like,
Uh-huh.
and he kind of looks like this, and I was like, and then he looks and he's like, "Sir, do you have something in your hand?"
This was in Rancho?
Fontana, Cherry and Baseline.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
So then he's just like, "Sir,"
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "Do you have something in your hand?" And I was like, "He does." And again, he's just locked in on me, not paying attention
Like
to
ready
anything
to
else
shank your ass.
or something. And then he said, again, I don't remember if it was a Vietnam vet hat that he had or a
Uh-huh.
fireman hat.
Okay.
And then he's just like, "Sir," he's just like, "I'm extending professional courtesy because of like the hat." He's
Yeah.
like, "But if you don't put down whatever you have in your hand right now,"
Yeah.
he's like, "I promise you it will not be good for you." And then he unholstered, like he didn't unholster his gun, but he unclipped it.
His gun or his knife?
His gun. The cop.
Oh, I was like,
The cop.
okay.
And then he's just like, "Put down what," and then he, started speaking in the cop voice. He's like, "Put down whatever you have in your hand right now." And then he just grabs it and he throws it at me. And I was like, "Ah."
He threw
And then,
it at you?
he just kind of went like this. So then the like guy comes over, he like picks him up. He's like, "What is wrong with you?" He's just like, like hooks him up, takes him. He ends up going to jail, right?
For what?
So I didn't know for what, but I was just like, "Ooh, crazy." Like 3 days later, I'm in the break room, right? I'm asleep as I usually was, and then I hear like on the intercom, they're like, "Hey Diego, you in the break room?" I'm like, "Yeah, leave me alone." And they're like, "You have a client here," and I'm like, "I'm on lunch." Like, "It's that guy who threw that knife at you," and I was just like, "Oh," and they're like, "He wants to talk to you. Do you want us to call the police?" And I was like, "No." And I was like, "Just put him at my desk." And like, "Are you sure?" And there was another banker there who was like a pretty like bigger dude. He was just like, "You good? You want me to go out there with you?" I was like, "No." "What, is he gonna stab me in front of everybody or shoot me?" I'm like, "No, it's fine." So then I went over and I sat down, and then he said, he's like, "I just wanted to come over." He's like, "And apologize to you for my actions." And I was just like, "Oh, I appreciate it." I was like, "It takes a big man to admit when they're wrong." And I was like, "And you're clearly a very big man in every aspect of the word." And he started to cry. He like broke down and he started to cry. And he said that he's like, "Don't ever go to jail." And I was like, "Believe you me, I know." But he said, "You will get treated horribly." He's just like, "And it won't be by the other inmates." He's like, "It's by the police." And I had a gun collection, and he was an older dude. Again, he was a Vietnam War veteran, so he's in like 60s, maybe 70s. And he had gotten a gun from his great grandfather, like in like an 1800s like revolver. He was a gun collector. They took it from him, all of his guns, because it was a violent crime. So they took all of his guns, and again, he was crying, and he stayed at my desk crying and telling me everything for like an hour and a half. And then
Where is he now?
still going to the bank. He would come in all the time. After
He
that,
just doesn't have his guns anymore. Wait, he just doesn't have his guns anymore.
yeah, they took all of his guns, And then again, my manager asked me like, "Do you want us to close this account? Like, like and have like," and I was just like, "No, like it's fine." Like, he apologized. I understand.
I didn't
Again,
know
this
banks
this
did
lady,
that.
yeah, this lady was wild. Over
But
by the next day,
he
she
puppy
overdrafted
used.
the account, all different kinds of stuff. I don't know. I don't know if he did or if he did not. I
If he
assume
abused her,
because I seen
bruises.
the bruises. But yeah, he threw the knife at me, um, and cried at my desk for like an hour and a half when he came back.
Hmm.
And that was another one of those situations where that kind of stuff happens. Or I mean, it happened to me. I had a interesting time when I worked at the bank. Any stories like that you can relate?
Um. Wow. Oh, so before I started real estate, I would go to open houses just to see what other realtors were doing. So that by the time I got my license, I was like, I'm gonna know what to do. I'm gonna follow everything that everyone else was doing, blah, blah, blah. So when I got my license, as soon as I got it, I couldn't wait to get my license number. I was like, the minute I get my license number, I'm gonna send out a million postcards to all my sphere of influence. I'm gonna, leave these on all the doorsteps in my whole neighborhood, whatever. And I did open houses every single weekend for like a year straight. And there's been a lot of weirdos that have come to my open houses. I used to do them alone. When I was new, I didn't know any better, right? I'm like, oh yeah, put out the signs, wear a cute little outfit, and get some clients. Like,
Mm-hmm.
super easy. Like, I don't need help. Like, I don't need
Mm-hmm.
anyone to go with me. Like,
Yeah.
for what? And then one day one of my friends was studying or trying to get his license. And I was like, "Oh, come visit me. I'm going to be at this whatever condo in Rancho." And he's like, "Okay." So then there was this one realtor that reached out to me. I don't even remember, like, I might have asked him if I could do an open house for him or something. It's been so long, I can't even remember. But basically, I was there with my friend that stopped by, and the doorbell rang, whatever. I'm like, "Oh, come in." So this guy like comes in, and we're upstairs because it's like those condos where like you walk up the stairs. So we're like on the kitchen level, and he's like, "Hey," like as if we'd met before, and I'm like, "Who are you? Like, what are you doing?" Oh, he's like, "John," and I'm like, looking at my friend, like, "Do you know this guy?" Because I don't know this guy. And he's like, "John, remember me?" And I'm just like, "No." And then, like, later, I figured out, like, who he was. And I was like, dude, if I wasn't there with my friend, like, anything could have happened
Oh
for
yeah.
sure. Mind you, my friend is a former NFL player,
Mm.
big guy, big, bulky, athletic, fit, tall.
Dark, handsome, rich. Okay.
Yeah, no, he's a big guy. So I
Yeah.
was like, dude, and so we joke about it now. And he's like, "You still owe me commission for John.
Yeah.
I
Like
saved your life."
I've heard stories.
Yeah.
A realtor that I know,
Uh-huh.
the one who let me borrow her dress for a video that I made. Yeah, there's a video of me wearing a dress. It's on my Instagram. You can find it.
Okay, I'll look for it.
You should. It's hilarious.
Okay.
But she was telling me that like when you post on social media,
Mm-hmm.
people know where you're going to be at,
Yeah, I stopped doing that. And my Instagram's private too,
and people can know where you're at.
for sure.
And if it's an open house, and if you're not there with someone, and she had said that some dude just like showed up, who had been like trying to talk to her on Instagram.
Oh, I've had that happen too. Another
Yep.
guy that like another realtor.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I thought I'd stop by, whatever." This was like almost 2 years ago. And then, funny enough, he showed my recent listing recently, and I saw his name pop up on my phone. I was like, I'm not picking up that phone call. Um, he sent me drunk text messages. almost 2 years ago. I still have the messages in my phone.
Yeah.
And he left me a voicemail like nothing ever happened. Like, hey, Rochelle, I went by your open house this weekend. I know it's your listing, but my clients might be interested in submitting an offer. And I'm like, please text me. Thank you for your interest in my listing. Please let me know if you decide to submit an offer.
Yeah.
And then a few days later, he texts me again and he's like, oh, the dad wants to show, like, wants to see the house. I'm like, okay, there's a super on the front door. Like, please show. Thank you
Yeah.
for showing. Then he texts me again, like, let me know if you have any other listings in the area. They really like the area, but we won't be submitting an offer. Like, just finding reasons to text me. And I'm
Hmm.
just like, dude, you realize like our threads literally you in Mexico, like, hey, baby,
Oh,
sorry for being drunk, baby. I miss you, baby. Like,
what'd you do to him?
nothing. Literally, I
Uh,
met him before he got his license at a conference in
hmm.
Vegas. He happened to live out here. We were out there for Century 21. He was just there to like learn about real estate. And then he passed his test and he's like, yeah, Rochelle, like, I think I'm going to join whatever brokerage. Like, I think it's a good fit. I'm like, cool, good luck. Then he just got really comfortable. And then one day he was on a trip and started texting me weird stuff. And then I ignored him up until,
The
yeah, I was
offer.
at the airport and like I saw his name pop up. And then I went back. I was like, wait, is this the guy who I think it is? And I went back to the messages and it was. And I was like, please text me.
Yeah. But I've had a realtor also say that it was like finishing up her open house and she saw someone like outside, but she just got like a feeling, like
Mm,
intuition, like gut feeling.
yeah,
And the person like approached and was kind of like looking around and she just felt uncomfortable.
right.
So what she did is he was just like, oh, like, hey, can I come in? Like, can I see the house? And then she was just like, well, we're actually done because she just felt uneasy about it. And then he's just like, you're by yourself? And then she was like, what? No, just close up all the window. And then so she pretended like somebody else was there. And then as like she said that, he was just like, oh, turn around, booked it, like left. And then had heard of other people or other realtors saying that there was somebody in a white car. And it was, going after woman realtors.
Yeah, I've
And
heard a lot of stories. I've definitely experienced it. I experience weirdos on a daily basis.
yeah, so it's you got to be cautious
Yeah, I
with
stopped putting my yeah, and I stopped doing open houses by myself
yeah.
after those two
Hmm.
instances because it's like this guy came from like Pico Rivera to Riverside. Yeah, there was even another. Yeah, that got really weird because my ex-boyfriend also showed up the same time he was there. So imagine that.
Ex-boyfriends and girlfriends.
No, but like it even got weirder because there was like a lender that was there that day too that was also trying to
Yeah,
harass me.
I've had someone message me on Instagram. I also have that message too. And I can't remember the name, but it was like, um, text Rochelle again and you'll catch a bullet like she did. And I was like,
You're lying.
swear. And my, well, obviously not you, but whoever the name was. And I was just like, did someone just admit to shooting someone? Because he said, text whatever this person's name is again, and you'll catch a bullet like she did. And then the
Who
person,
is it? Do you know?
no. And I think it might have been someone that I had like met, maybe exchanged messages with or something like
Right,
that.
right.
And then I remember, because I didn't really know, I never met up with that person, right?
I'm
And I just
stressed.
knew that they lived off of the apartments off of like Haven and Fourth.
Okay.
And my cousin lived there at that time. And I was like, hey, anybody get shot in your apartment complex in the last week or two? There's like nothing I know of. And I was like, oh. And if you want to find out where I am, it's very easy. My stuff is public. My business Instagram has my address
Yeah.
on it.
Uh-huh.
So
My
I
stuff
like,
too.
and I'm not going to be like, oh, crazy person. Hell no. Like I told my
Yeah.
brother and I'm like, yo, somebody comes in here like looking for me, like know that I got this message. But yeah, like whenever, let's say I'm gonna start talking to somebody or whatever it is, I will always ask. It's just like, anybody gonna get upset if they see us hanging out? And people
You
always be
asked
like,
that?
absolutely.
Hmm.
Like, people are like, oh, recently single or like whatever it may be. I will ask. And I do it jokingly, but I'm dead serious.
I love how my dad saw us at Victoria Gardens that one day.
Uh huh.
That's just funny.
Oh. But for
I just
me,
thought about
because
it.
people will always tell me, like, oh no, like my ex boyfriend's not like that. He would never. And I'm like,
He would
you
never
may
be.
think that,
Yeah.
but you don't know. And especially
That's so true.
if
So
it's
true.
a relationship that you were with someone for a long time, and it might be over for you, but it might not be over for them.
Oh yeah,
If
motherfuckers are crazy.
and if there's kids involved or whatever it may be, and the
Yeah.
reason that I say that, and I always ask, is he big? Can he fight? And not because I'm going to fight back, because I need to know how many juke moves I'm going to have to execute to get away from somebody. Like,
You sound experienced in this area, Diego.
I had, well, when I was younger,
It's okay.
completely different. I've been chased out of a house and apartment and stuff by like a mom, or not a mom and dad. Actually, yeah, mom and dad, or like a brother or something like that. But the reason that I say this is I have a friend who his uncle, let's say you and I work at Verizon, right?
Okay. Uh-huh.
We're all gonna go out for drinks afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
You broke up with your ex, and I don't know, it's been 3 weeks, and he's trying to get back with you. So he's at your house waiting to profess his love and with flowers and whatever it is,
You're giving me
trying
anxiety. I
trying to
never
win you
want
back.
that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And we're coworkers. There's nothing going on between us.
mm-hmm,
But I'm gonna take you home because you had too much to drink,
mm-hmm,
right? So then that's what happened to my friend's uncle. He went to take a coworker home.
mm-hmm. And his girl's
Her
ex.
her ex was waiting, seen some dude dropping off his girl, and a guy who had never committed a crime in his life.
Yeah, went to jail.
He stabbed him.
Oh,
He picked
stabbed
up
him.
like some like little like metal rod guard like in the thing or whatever,
Mm.
and then just came up to the window and tried to stab, and I think did stab him like in like the neck and shoulder. A
People are
guy.
crazy.
That's what I'm saying. So like girls will be like, oh, he would never do that. It's like you don't know that.
Yeah. I
When it
don't put
comes
anything
to
past people, especially with love. Love is more dangerous than drugs. Love is more dangerous than sex. Love is more dangerous than anything. I think love is like a crazy weapon.
what kind of sex are you having that you think is dangerous?
No, it's no, that's not like
I know what you're saying.
you know what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean? Like
That's what I mean.
no, it's a drug. It's a drug. It's a
Yeah.
drug that you can't yeah, you
And
can't
if
win.
there's kids involved, like imagine you're
Yeah.
in love with someone and you have kids together, and
I
then
don't wanna
for
imagine
whatever for
I don't
whatever
wanna
reason it
imagine
doesn't
that.
work out,
Yeah.
and that other person can't handle seeing you with someone else,
Oh, yeah.
or being alone.
Guys already can't handle it without kids, let alone
Women are
with
crazy too, though.
for sure.
I know women who have done some crazy ass
Oh no,
things.
for sure. That's what I'm saying. Love is like a drug you can't fight.
So I always ask, like jokingly, and I won't talk to girls
Good for you.
that are like recently broken up.
That's
Like I'm like,
good.
how long?
No,
Like,
that's
oh,
good. All guys should do that.
just got out of a relationship. How long ago? I'm good. Like it's not worth it. I'm not putting myself and my life
Yeah, you have
at
too much to lose.
risk because
Yeah.
of something like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, people are wild. People are crazy.
I could talk about this topic all night long.
Go ahead. Elaborate.
I don't know who's gonna watch this.
You're gonna come after me, see? What I'm saying. I mean, you don't have
love,
to,
love is
obviously.
just dangerous, honestly. I just feel like it's just dangerous. It's dangerous. It's like I said, more dangerous than cocaine, heroin. I really think it. I mean, I've never done cocaine or heroin, but I imagine love to be worse.
I think the things that it'll make you do are dangerous. It's one of the most powerful feelings, one of the most important feelings
Hmm.
to human beings.
Yeah, not something to play with.
Yeah, and
Mm-mm.
if someone, let's say, imagine you didn't receive love as a kid, right? You had shitty parents or shitty upbringing.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, let's throw in you got bullied, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you finally find that one person that you connect with
Mm-hmm.
and that means so much to you and that you would
Right.
give your life for, and then they have your kids or you have their kids. And then for whatever reason, it doesn't end up working out. Some people don't know how to handle that because that's all they've ever had and it's the most thing. And then when you take it away, some people don't react favorably.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it can be dangerous.
No, for
So
sure. For sure.
it's not prudent, in my opinion, to and some men will especially or specifically go after recently broken up girls, right? You just broken up, it's just like, oh, like you
She's
just got
finally single.
heartbroken or you just got single
Yeah.
or you want a distraction or
Uh-huh.
like whatever. So like they try to capitalize on that. It's just like at what cost? Like the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
It's
My exes are, they're all different. I don't know. I don't, yeah, they're different. They're
mm-hmm,
different for sure. Like I've had my exes say like, "Oh, Rochelle, if I got with another girl, like you would lose it." And I'm like, "Really? I'd be happy for you."
mm,
But I've like left my exes for my other exes and like they're like, "I didn't think you would ever do that."
mm,
But still love me anyway.
right.
So
Yeah, that's
you don't know until it happens to you, I guess. And it's all situational, right? Like what you will do for one guy, you might not do for another guy.
mm-hmm, yeah, and because you feel differently, even though it could, I can love this person, I can love that person, but I love them differently, or I love different things about them, or I love them more, or again, I just think it's differently how those
Uh-huh.
things can play out, and
Dangerous.
yes, can be, yeah, it can definitely be very dangerous. I remember, so I had to do anger management for 16 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and most of the people that are in there are for domestic disputes.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one of the things them saying
Mm-hmm.
is like, if there's ever a situation like that with someone that you're seeing, it's like remove yourself from that situation as quickly as possible
Mm-hmm.
because you can say whatever, and then more often than not, it's the man who is the aggressor, and it may not be the case, right? Like, say you and I are arguing,
Mm-hmm.
and then someone in the office next door hears. It's like when the cops comes, it's like who's going to get the attention of right and wrong? More than likely, it's going to be the man. So it's like things like that happen. It's like remove yourself from that situation because also men and women can be like, oh no, but he did this, he hit me, she did this, or like whatever. It's just like so it's remove yourself from that situation before you let it or allow it to escalate.
That's what you learned from the class?
Well, that's one of the things that they were because again, most of the people that were in there were for like domestic disputes. Um, I was in there because I got into a fight with the security guard at a soccer game. But most of the people in there were like because of domestic disputes, and that's one of the things. It's like you don't think your girl would do that, or vice versa. You don't think your guy would do certain things, but in the heat of the moment, and it's like even though you love that girl, or even though she loves you, sometimes when you take it away, it's just like now I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna hurt you in the worst way possible. I'm gonna say you hit me. Now you're gonna go to jail. I'm gonna take your kids, or I'm gonna say you do different things. Um, so
Dangerous.
yeah,
Love is dangerous.
love can be very, very dangerous. Can also be very beautiful, and it could be a fleeting feeling, and it could be one of the best things in the world. But don't date recently single women, people, and or women don't date recently single guys because some girls are also.
What if like you're talking to a guy and he has a girlfriend and he doesn't tell you that he has a girlfriend?
What about it?
Like what
Should a woman do?
Yeah, like one of my friends asked, like, told me about that today. She's like, "What about these guys that just like have girlfriends but still call you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what about them?"
I think, I mean, everybody's going to handle things differently.
This
It's like,
topic.
no, but I'm saying, like, I wouldn't know what to. I mean, I know what I would do, but I can't tell anybody else what
Yeah.
to do. Like, if,
What does it say about a guy if they call you and they have a girlfriend?
what do you mean? Like, what's the conversation like?
That they talk to you like they're your boyfriend. Like my instinct is, for example, a guy calls me and I know he has a girlfriend and I know he's attracted to me and he never talks about his girlfriend, but I talk about her and he just blows it off.
Hmm.
Does that mean he doesn't respect her or does it mean he doesn't respect me?
Maybe it's both.
Oh, okay.
Some girls are okay with that. Some men are okay with that. Some
Yeah.
people in general, you're
Yeah.
okay with that. I'm not. Like,
What's that?
with being the other person.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
you.
So it's
Okay.
like, what do I care?
Yeah, like what
Right?
difference does it make? That's your girlfriend and you want to talk to me? Oh, well.
Yeah. Like, I won't disrespect anybody else's relationship, although I may not know that guy. But for me, it's also self respect. Like, I'm not
Would I
going to,
engage into
yeah,
in this behavior? Yeah.
right. So, like, recently, um, someone came to visit, and my mom and her mom were kind of like, so what's going to happen? Like, trying to see if maybe something could, like, happen, right,
Wait.
between us.
Oh, okay, okay.
Hmm.
Okay, okay.
And then I was just like, well, I don't know if this girl has a boyfriend or not, because I've seen her social media, and not for sure, but it doesn't look like no, right? Um, and then I was telling my mom, it's like, if she does, I'm not going to approach her in
Yeah.
that way.
Like I don't want
Okay?
no problems.
It's not like I would have any problems because she lives in a different country. I wouldn't have any problems, but I'm not going to disrespect that relationship. That's not me.
Yeah.
Somebody could be like, what the fuck do I care? He lives over there or she lives over there. I may never see her again. I may never ever see him.
Uh-huh.
It's like, if you're in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that dude
Mm-hmm.
to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, some people don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So when I used to work at the restaurant, I used to work at Famous Dave's,
Okay.
right? And I think in most jobs, but especially in the restaurant business, everybody's hooking up with everybody,
Right.
right? But when I had a girlfriend, I'm very respectful in my relationship.
Yeah.
Ain't no grab assing over here.
Yeah.
Like, girls would do that, like trying to get a to-go box and put your titties on my shoulder, like, "Oh, excuse me." And I'm like, yo, don't do that. Like, I have a girlfriend, even though she's not here, she'll never know about this. Don't do that. Like, that's me. I respect my relationship. I respect
Mm-hmm.
the girl that I'm with. And you can grab ass and do all that with whoever you want, not me. I am very respectful of my relationship when I have one. Right? It's like, to me, if someone asks my girlfriend to dance, if someone compliments my girlfriend,
It's a compliment to you.
not necessarily to me, but it comes with the territory.
Yeah. Like
You got a hot girlfriend? Yeah, you're gonna get hit on. I'm not gonna be like, why? And I'm like, hey, like, don't talk to my girlfriend.
yeah.
Again, it's normal for a person to do that.
Yeah.
Now, if it is clear and if it's apparent that we're together and you're still trying to do that shit, now you're disrespecting me, right? And I think there's a difference between jealousy and, let's say, territorial,
Mm.
right? Just
Mm-hmm.
like, this is my girlfriend, right? We're in a relationship, and you, knowing that, are doing X and Y, you're being disrespectful.
Have you been cheated on before?
Probably, yeah. Oh, I know for sure.
Mm.
Yeah. I think well, probably. I do have a text message that literally says that. But
That
yeah,
says what?
I cheated on you, by the way. And I was like, we weren't dating at that time. But it also seemed like it was
Girls
like
are so petty. I
petty,
cheated on you just
spiteful.
straight up.
And
Like,
it's like, okay. Like, who does that make look bad or feel bad? Like, we were done a long, long time ago. What we had
after the
before
fact.
is not there. Like, that just
Uh,
shows you're a shitty person. That's cool. So
yeah.
that's not the reason we're not together. But it's just like, okay.
Mm,
But yeah,
confidence.
yeah. Confidence is,
Tell me more.
I am, again, some people get jealous. I do not consider myself a jealous person. For me, if you want to be with someone else, go right the fuck ahead.
Mm, I love that.
I
love
am big on respect.
Uh-huh.
Again, I know you're going to get hit on. You're hot.
Yeah.
It comes with the territory,
Right, right,
right? It depends on how you react to it.
right,
It
right,
depends on how respectful you are of our relationship and
right.
to yourself.
Yeah.
Because you are the one who dictates what you let people get away with, how
Right.
far or what they can say to you.
Uh-huh.
You're in control of that. Someone says some like sly shit or whatever, you could like how you respond will determine how that either continues or you fucking put a stop to it right then and there. And you don't have to do it in a specific way. You don't have to be like, don't fucking talk to me like that. I got a man.
Yeah.
But there is a way that you can respond to things
Right.
to make it clear on where you stand.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, you're putting your titties on my shoulder. Don't do that. I will straight up tell you, do not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now that girl knows not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I didn't,
Yeah.
and she's just always putting her bosoms on me or whatever it is, or trying to like be like this like flirty or whatever, so it's like you're gonna take give an inch, give a mile. Give an inch, take a mile. So it's like, no, I'm not giving you an inch. I'm not giving you any of my inches. Just kidding. But yeah, I think it's we all determine how much
Yeah.
those things either
sure.
escalate to or don't escalate to. And yeah, I'm big on respect.
That's
I respect
awesome.
my person that I'm with. I respect my relationship. I respect myself. So I will put a stop to that. And I don't have to be mean about it either. I'm just like, mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. And that does come with confidence.
Yeah.
Because I know who I am.
Yeah.
And what I am.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't align with what you want, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like if our paths don't converge,
right.
Yeah, go talk to that dude. But people being, like say you're out and then like someone like hitting on or whatever, again, me, I don't personally believe that I'm jealous. That's just me though. How about you?
I want to believe I'm not a jealous person, but that's a lie.
Hold on.
Oh, yes, that wasn't recorded. There's a lot of stuff we could talk about off the record.
So repeat that one more time.
I'm not jealous.
No? You would like to think that you're not a jealous person?
I'm just I just love hard. That's why I said earlier, like, love is dangerous. Love is a killer. It's the most addictive drug, the most powerful feeling, the most, for me at least, like when I love something, whether it's a physical human being or my career as a realtor, like, I mean, you know how you've talked to me long enough, Diego. I think you know my passion. You know how much I love what I do and how I take my business seriously.
Right.
But as far as like confidence, like I know like my personality is very strong and that I'm not like, your average girl when it comes to a lot of things. And like I try to remind myself that jealousy is evil and like it's not a good way to be. But I just feel like over the years in my loving relationships, I've been loved so hard, but I've also like experienced cheating, and it's like made me not necessarily jealous, but like traumatized. Like, I remember like girls would be after like this guy I was with, and they would send me some nasty messages like, I'm still effing your man. And like, I would just be like, wow, that's crazy because like he's laying right next to me. Like, really? Yeah, you're sleeping outside tonight.
Oh, one of the things it's I think if we look at the word jealousy,
Yeah.
jealousy means I want something that I don't have.
Right, right. And I think of it too like love is patient, love is kind, love is not jealous, you know,
Hmm.
like so that's why I try like especially like as an older woman like okay, that was like maybe 10 years ago. I was like 21. What did I know about love or jealousy or whatever? Um
Well,
but
Romeo and Juliet were super young. They know all about it.
but like being like, you know, early 30s, having experienced a couple of serious relationships, I feel like I'm at a point in my life like, okay, what's for me will be for me. Like there's no reason to be jealous, you know?
Hmm.
Like yeah.
I think it also has to do with trust, right? We talked about this last time. You work late, you have appointments with clients.
Yes.
You might not be able to respond to a text message from someone that you're seeing,
Uh-huh.
or you may have male clients. And let's
Yes.
say, for me, personally speaking,
Mm-hmm.
I've never checked the phone in my life,
You've never what?
checked somebody's phone,
Oh.
because I trust the person that I'm with, or else I wouldn't fucking be there. If
A
you
lot of
feel,
guys check phones.
so do women. A lot of people do that.
Yeah, my friend called me last week. Like, I went through her phone. What should I do? I was like, dude, you're gonna keep talking to her. So don't even ask me what you're gonna do. Because the fact that you're even asking me just tells me you already are still talking to her. So just stop asking
If
me.
you feel like you got to check your significant other's phone,
Yeah.
that's already something to be concerned about.
Yep, that's what I told him.
Yeah. Like
But
you can, um, let's say you and I were
yeah,
dating.
yeah,
It's 2 o'clock in the morning.
yeah,
We're sleeping,
yeah.
right? You
Uh-huh.
get a text message.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say like, "Hey, what the fuck's texting you so late?" But not like, "Are you dating someone? Why is somebody calling?" Like, again, you're a pretty girl. You're
Yeah.
gonna get hit on,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like, "Oh, now I need to start checking her phone or whatever." But it will be a question
Yeah, in your
of
head.
like,
Uh-huh.
no, I'll ask you, fucking like, oh, who's texting you that late?
Oh, out loud.
Yeah, it's just like because again, it's odd hours. It's not something normal. But I wouldn't be like, "Are you cheating on me?"
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But it has to do a lot with trust.
Definitely.
And one of the girls that I was dating one time, she had asked me, she's like, "Are you a jealous person?" And I was just like, "No." And then she's like, "Not even a little bit." She's like, "I think everybody gets like
A little
a
jealous.
hint of jealousy."
Yeah.
And I'm like, probably everybody does experience some sense of jealousy. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, but I'm very secure within myself.
Yeah.
I'm not the most handsome person. I'm not the funniest person. I'm not the most successful person. But again, I'm very confident in who the fuck I am and what the fuck I bring to the table.
Right, right. Mm-hmm.
And let's say you and I are here, and then there is a handsome dude, tall, buff, successful, or whatever. I'm not jealous. So it's like, motherfucker got it going on. Okay. Like,
Mm,
I respect that. I acknowledge it. I recognize it. Now, if I start feeling a certain type of way, that isn't jealousy. That's an insecurity that I have within myself.
there's a lot of that
So
in
it's
the
just like,
world
okay,
too.
well, maybe it's insecurity.
Yeah.
But again, that the even like the word jealousy or like envious, I want what they have or whatever it is, it's a little bit different. Now, if he's cracking jokes and you're laughing a lot fucking harder than you should, it's like, that'll just make me think it's just like, okay, like, what is causing that, right? But it's not like, oh, fuck this dude, I'm gonna beat him up, or it's not gonna be like, why are you laughing? If it's funny, it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter who it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I also think it depends on the situation and like where you at in the relationship. And yeah, I think anybody can experience a hint of jealousy. But again, I would like to think I am not a jealous person. And
I
as
definitely
difficult,
used to be, for sure.
And I think as difficult as it may be, if that is what you're showing me or if that's what you want, it's just like,
Yeah, I'm good.
go ahead.
That's cool. I
Like,
need to be more like you, Diego.
no.
I'm just kidding. No, no, I think with age and time, like definitely. I feel like I'm there.
I think it does come with experience. And
Yep.
like you said, maybe when you're younger and you're first head over
Yeah.
heels and you're afraid of losing somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think jealousy can poke its head out.
for sure.
And it could be for anybody. But
Yeah.
yeah, it all circles back to, again, love.
Trust. Yeah, love.
Yeah.
Love is dangerous.
Can be, but I try not to look at it that way.
Maybe my experiences have been dangerous.
I have a friend right now who's on the cusp of being in a relationship,
Okay.
right? And very fearful, and understandably so.
Dangerously in love.
Afraid of vulnerability,
Oh, mm-hmm.
of making that step.
Risking it all.
And yeah, risking it all, and also like, nope, like I'm gonna run away. Like I'm bolting. I'm not. And it's like I understand the fear that comes with that,
Uh-huh.
but I was like, I would like for you to give yourself the opportunity to
Okay.
be happy.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, yes, you might get hurt. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try or see. And I said, because, okay, let's say you get hurt. Sometimes it takes a week to get over somebody. Sometimes it's a few months. Sometimes it's a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anybody who's experienced being in a relationship and it doesn't work out
Mm-hmm.
understands how much that can hurt. The
Right.
vulnerability or it not working out. But to me, it's just like, I am always going to give myself the opportunity to be happy, no matter what.
That's cool.
Because I said, there's different options. There's different things.
Definitely.
And I told my friend, I said, your niece, she has a niece that's like just turned 1. I'm like, what would you want for her? Would you want her to give
try.
herself the opportunity?
Right.
I was like, this could be the person that she spends the rest of her fucking life with. The person who gives her kids, the person she grows old with,
Yeah.
the person that you get to experience this journey we call life
Yeah.
with. But if
Would
you're
you ruin it?
scared,
Mm-hmm.
and again, I understand it,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like Michael Scott. I'm ready to be hurt again. Hurt me. I don't give a fuck. Like, I will have my reservations and I'm not going to be stupid about it.
Yeah.
But
I'm like that too.
some people, like, there's certain people where they feel butterflies and they're like, I don't like this feeling. I got to stop talking to this person.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't want
I'm
to
not
feel
that.
vulnerable.
I'm obsessed with loving somebody.
And to me, I'm not a person who just jumps right into something, but I don't back away from anything.
Yeah.
And again, I'm
Me
not going to
too.
back away from the opportunity to be happy.
Yeah.
Like, if I can find my person,
Yeah.
it's like, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'll do anything within my power
Right.
to see if that's a possibility.
Right.
And I said, you have to acknowledge certain feelings.
Definitely.
Like I dated a girl who lived in Venezuela,
Okay.
right? So I met her while I was in Miami.
Okay.
We hung out one day, we hung out the second day.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the second day, she told me, and because she's Russian,
Mm-hmm.
right? Russians don't say a lot of words. They speak very bullet pointy.
Okay.
Right? And she spoke Spanish. And we were hanging out and we're in the hotel. And then she told me, she's like, you're my person. And I was like, I thought it was something lost in translation, right?
Oh.
Am I a nice person? Like, am I a funny person?
No,
Like,
you're the man of my dreams, Diego.
I needed to clarify. And and then I told her in Spanish. And I was just like,
How do you say it in Spanish?
she told me, she was like, tú eres mi persona. And I was like,
Tú eres mi persona.
Mm-hmm.
You are
And
my
this-
person.
I think a lot of people say that now. I had never heard it until then. This was like 3 years ago or something
Okay.
like that, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was just like,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay. And I wasn't like, oh, like to some people, that's like someone telling you I love you almost, right? And I wasn't like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got to get out of here. And it wasn't like, oh my God, I love you too.
Yeah.
It
So
was
how
just
did you
like-
clear it up or clarify?
Yeah. And she was like, no, like, and then she explained, she's like, I feel like, speak real quick.
Testing.
Okay, because that's the mute
Oh,
button.
sorry.
Um, but I was like, okay. And then later on, the throughout the night or whatever, we're like sleeping, cuddling or whatever, and then
Okay.
she came kind of like nestled up as we were like cuddling, and when she did, oh, I felt pterodactyls in my stomach. Not butterflies, pterodactyls.
What the fuck?
Something that I've never felt before,
Was this
right?
good or bad?
Good. I'm saying
Oh.
not butterflies, a very, very big version of it. A pterodactyl.
Oh. I thought you meant like a fucking like
Bubble guts? No.
no, no, no. Like the way you describe it is like, oh my God, like I felt sick to my fucking stomach to the point where
No.
like,
No.
oh, where is she now?
In Venezuela. Um,
Oh.
so I felt that, and she
Uh-huh.
had already told me that I was her person, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I love you too.
Uh-huh.
Or like
So,
anything like that. I just recognize that feeling, I acknowledge it, and I'm
oh.
like, I've never felt that before. That's interesting. And put a pin in that. And then, and I
Oh.
remember I had already been in Miami for like a week, and she's like, I don't want you to leave. She's just like, like, I wish you could stay. I could have. I had my laptop with me. I could stay whatever I want.
Yeah.
But I was just like, no, like, I gotta get back home.
Do you
I
still
gotta
talk
get
to
to
her?
work. We dated for some time, right?
Do you still talk to her?
I haven't talked to her in a couple of months, a few months.
Mm.
But she told me, she's like, hey,
Tú eres mi
um,
persona.
yeah. She told me, she's like, hey, would you like to continue to get to know each other? She's like, I can come back to the States. She's just like, around my birthday. Her birthday's in January.
Okay.
She's like, I've always wanted to go to San Francisco. Would you be down to meet in San Francisco and like hang out?
Yeah.
And, get to know each other in the meantime, through like online. I'm like, yeah, sure. And we did. And I did not know, I did not anticipate that we would talk every fucking day for the next 6 months. And she did come out here, spent 3 weeks out here, right? So she
Oh.
ended up coming out in December.
Okay.
But I remember like around October, she was telling me, she's like, oh, from Miami to Russia is like the same amount of time as like Venezuela to Russia. And I was like, yeah, they kind of line up. And she's like, but from California, she's like, it's like almost twice as long. And I was
Uh-huh.
just like, I know how a globe works.
Uh-huh.
Go the opposite direction.
So now what?
And I was like, California to like Russia. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's
She
like, well,
wanted you
because
to go
she,
there?
no. Because she's like, well, because you're in like California. And I was like,
Mhm.
hold on. I said, what are your expectations for like what we're doing? And I said, because I've enjoyed getting to know you.
Yeah.
And I said, and I have every intention
Mm-hmm.
to meeting up with you in San Francisco and hanging out with you and, seeing how that's going. And I was like, I don't like, she had been married before.
Okay.
She's successful. She has a high-end nail salon in Venezuela.
Okay.
And I was like, I was like, this is the first time you're single in a very long time. I
Yeah.
was just like, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, you're
Your
successful.
ex-husband's gonna come
First
after me.
time that you're going to be single in
You
a
don't
long
like those
time.
girls.
I said, I don't want you to miss out on experiences and things like that. And I was like, for some dude
But
you
just
met in Miami who lives in LA. And I was just like, and then she's like, well, how do you feel about, she's like,
what?
about kind of like, basically it ended up like having an open relationship.
Yeah.
She's just like, you do whatever you going to do. She's like, but then when we meet up and when we're together, like we're together, but it's like, you're over there, I'm over here. So in between, like, and I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, yeah, sure, fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, she came out here for 3 weeks. She came out in late December. We went, and then like she had also asked me, she's like, how far is the Grand Canyon from San Francisco? I was like, yeah, I don't know. Like it's not super far. It's not again like Russia's huge. And she's like, would we be able to like drive down there? And I was just like, yeah. She's like, I've always wanted a road trip, and I wanted to see the Grand Canyon. And I was like, cool. So again, she ended up coming out in like late December. We went to LA, and then we planned like a whole trip. So we went like LA, obviously, because it's like around here. Solvang, Santa Barbara, went up to San Francisco. She got COVID, so then we came back down, quarantined for a little bit, went to Vegas. From Vegas, we went to the Grand Canyon, did a helicopter ride, and then back home,
Mm.
right? And I was trying to do what I could to
At
see
the time.
how it would be possible for her to be able to get residency here, right? So there's a thing called a HB whatever, like some type of like visa.
Visa.
So like through like my job, I'd be able to get it's like a foreigner's like visa or like whatever it was. And that's just like, yeah, like I'll do that. And I remember my brother telling me like, bitch, you just met this girl. I'm like, are you sure you want? And it's like I've already looked into everything. I know I'm not risking like my business. I'm not risking anything personal. This is just a way to see if something can or something more can come
Mm-hmm.
of me and her.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't end up working out. She couldn't get a visa. She tried and tried and tried. Went to like Ecuador to try to get it through there. She was going to invest a bunch of money into um, I forgot which island. It's not Ghana. Ghana's not even an island. Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know, like one of those.
Okay.
But it just did
Didn't
not
work.
end up happening to where that she can get a visa and then we could, see if something was going to transpire between us. And the relationship kind of fizzled out. The war with Ukraine and all these different things or whatever. But I am always going to give myself the opportunity for happiness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I would do everything within my power. And if it works out, fucking great. And if it doesn't, oh well. Some people are too afraid to take that risk.
I feel like I have a lot of stories like the one you just shared.
Please do.
Um, okay, 20, I think it was, I'll tell you about two.
Mm-hmm.
So one, my girlfriends took me out to dinner on my birthday. I wasn't even 21, so this was like over 10 years ago. And I remember going to this restaurant and seeing this super attractive guy. Like he just looked foreign, like he looked different, not like any other guy you would ever see anywhere around here.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, the minute I walked through that restaurant door, I was like I need him. Like,
Mm.
yeah. And by the end of the night, I was telling my girlfriends like I need to talk to him.
That's daddy.
Right, right. And so had wrote my number down on like
Napkin.
something, and it felt so weird because I was like, dude, I've never like given my number to a guy without asking. Like I was fucking 20. I didn't know shit about shit. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, this guy is so attractive and like I'm not gonna walk out of this place without having a conversation with him. So I write down my number, whatever, and then we finish dinner, we're walking to the car and like he sends me a text message like as we're walking through the parking lot going to the car and I'm like, whoa, he already texted me, like, wow. So I saw him maybe like later that night or the night after or something, and we just clicked. Like we wore the same pair of shoes the first night we saw each other. Like it was just like crazy connection. First time I used my fake ID, I was like, yeah, Rochelle, you're risking it all for this guy. Like, I wonder what's gonna happen. So time goes on, whatever. We started hanging out more, and then I was like, dude, this guy doesn't want me. Like, he's way too attractive. Like, why does he want me? Like, there's girls all over him for sure. And he was this guy he was from Mississippi, and he had come here
How
because of
exotic.
Hurricane Katrina. Yeah, he was like this Creole guy, like light
Cajun.
skin, green eyes, like six pack, like
Duck
perfect
Dynasty.
skin. No, like
I'm
he was,
kidding. I'm kidding.
no, he was just like, I don't know how to explain, but anyways, he was very good looking.
Mm-hmm.
And he had like super strong accent, like southern accent. And I was just like, dude, like,
Ooh. You should hear a Venezuelan slash Russian
oh,
accent.
I bet. No, 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 no. I don't doubt it. When you said that, I was like, okay, okay. Because when I tell you about the next guy, you're gonna be like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
like where?
Yeah.
But one day he was like kind of like slowly disappearing, like little by little, like we would just see each other less. And then like the day before he had to leave, he was like, Rochelle, I couldn't tell you, but I have to go. Like I've been training for the military. I had an opportunity and now whatever, I'm taking off. So like over the last 12 years or whatever, like I've kept in touch with him. But I think he's like in Italy now, probably with a girlfriend or a wife or I don't know. Like I'll
Mm-hmm.
probably email him after we finish this
Now, yeah.
podcast. Yeah, just because like if I saw him again and he was in a good place, like or in an open like heart space, like I would be
Mm-hmm.
like could this work? Because
Yeah.
like when I first saw you, like I was super attracted to you and like whatever, but it just sucked because like literally like we never even slept together. Yeah, like we would just hang out and it was quick. It was like maybe a few months. And then one day he was like, I have an opportunity. I have to leave. Like, I'm leaving tomorrow. Tomorrow's my last day. And like, I can't miss this opportunity because the spot opened up and I've been training hard. And like, I passed the swim test and the blah test, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And fucking he's gone. And so, yeah, I think he's in Italy. But this other guy in 2017, I went to London by myself from Paris and I took the Eurostar train and I was like, I don't know how old I was. I was young, obviously. And I met this guy and he was British, but his dad was from Egypt and his mom was from the Philippines. And he spoke Tagalog and he spoke Arabic. And he was Egyptian and Filipino with a British accent. And I was like, yo.
It's funny.
I was like, what the fuck?
So it's funny because the way that her and I met was on Bumble
Uh-huh.
and on Tinder,
Uh-huh.
coincidentally,
Uh-huh.
right? So
Oh,
we,
like you guys connected on both apps?
yeah.
Oh.
So we were in like Little Havana in Miami, right?
Okay.
And matched with her on Bumble. And then so she said, do you speak Spanish? Right? And I was like, "Se habla español." And then we traded maybe like 2 messages, and then I got a alert on Tinder, and I was like,
The same girl.
yeah. So then I wrote her like in Spanish, and I was like, "Oh, I feel like I've seen you before." And then she was like, "Yeah, we just matched on another app." And I was just like, "Yeah, I know, but I've seen you somewhere else." She's like, "Really? Where?" And I was like, "In my dreams." And then she was like,
That's deep.
and then she was just like, "Looks like you have nice dreams." And I said, "How about we make some dreams a reality?" And then,
Smooth, Diego.
so then, we exchanged like a couple messages, and I was like, "Yo, like, do you like to dance?" She's like, "I love dancing," and I was like, "Bet." And I said, "It was my friend's birthday. Also, some of the people that we were with, one of the guys was going to propose to his girlfriend. So I said, we're gonna go out," and I said, "Do you want to meet at the club?" And I was like, "Do you want to meet at the dinner before? Like, do you want to do dinner and like go out dancing?" I was like, "Or do you want to come to the Airbnb, go with us to dinner?" And
Dang.
we're like, whichever one.
Yeah.
And then she was just like, "I'll show up to the Airbnb." I was like, "All right, cool, bet." So then I remember like, she had texted me that she was out there or she was outside. So like when I went outside, like seeing her walking out, just so happened to be that the light was shining on her in a certain way. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, like I could do this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And she only spoke Spanish, and I speak Spanish all day, every day, but never have like that kind of Spanish to like not necessarily hit on someone, but to like
Like
engage in that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hmm.
we obviously we hung out, we went dancing, everything, right? And I remember everybody there was just like, "Bro, like she's a 10. She's a 10. She's a 10. She's a 10." And I had just met
Oh.
most of these people. I only know my friend Alyssa, whose birthday it is today, actually. Right.
Oh.
And I had just met this entire other group of people.
Yeah.
So like 3 months afterwards, or like 2 months afterwards, it
Yeah.
was one of the guys' birthdays,
Yeah.
and he was having a birthday party. So like they invited me.
Yeah.
So I got there like a little bit early. I was in the area, and he's like, "Yo," he's just like, "What's up?" He's like, "Do you ever like end up still talking to that girl?" And I was like, "FaceTiming her right now. Say hello." And he's like, "Oh shit, like, hey, what's up?" And one of the things that I was telling them,
Sorry, that's my phone.
one of the things that I was telling them is like, they kept on saying she was a 10.
Mm-hmm.
You're only saying that because of her looks.
Uh-huh.
Because none of you motherfuckers speak Spanish. So nobody really talked to her except for one of the guys. And I'm like, she is a 10.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned that through the 2 months of talking to her every day. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are only saying that based on looks. And I was just like, yeah, sure. It's not my first time, let's say, pulling a hot girl. Like, looks are not everything. She's a 10 because of all of these other reasons. You guys were just saying that based on looks. But all those things definitely help. That Russian Venezuelan accent.
Yeah, this guy.
Oh, yeah. Like, again, like that looks are going to get you in the door.
Yeah.
And then your personality is what's going to keep you there.
Yeah.
So, and then like with her too, so it's like our relationship ran its course. She can't come out here, a couple of other things. But it's not like, oh, no. Who knows? And
yeah,
like maybe
down
the line in the future, if you're in a certain space and if I'm in a certain space, it's just like
it might work
maybe
out.
we take another crack at it.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, accents.
Crazy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I am a sucker. I'm a sucker. I'm a huge sucker. Like don't speak Farsi or Spanish or be Egyptian and Filipino and speak Arabic with a British accent. Like it's over.
It's over.
Yeah, like I still like talk to him on WhatsApp and like I haven't seen him since 2017, but like
there's always a little
I mess around with him like, what's up? Like, are we gonna get married or what's happening?
So you gonna give him some babies or what?
He's all the way in London.
Move to London, you speak the language.
I know, that's why I've considered it. I really have. Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. I am like I don't know. I always leave the door open. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's again, give yourself the opportunity because
I
personally and probably for you too.
Yeah.
I've never felt that for anybody.
Yeah, see that's the thing like with those two guys in particular, it's obviously a big physical attraction. Because I haven't gotten to know them too much. Like, and I remember one day, his name's Mike, the guy from Mississippi. Like, he was in the area one day, and like, I remember still like kind of seeing my ex at the time, and like, he was in town, and like, he was gonna like drop by, and then like, my ex was on the way, and he called me like, he was like, what do you want for dinner? Like, I'm almost there. And I'm like, what? And I had to call Mike and I was like, dude, you can't come. Like, there's no fucking way. Like, there's no. And ever since then, he was like, nah, Rochelle, like, I tried to pull up on you and like, you told me no. And so, like, I was like 10 years ago. I don't know. He's probably married now, if I had to guess. Like, fine ass guy, like, military, Italy.
Could be, but sometime. And then one of the things is also the person I was a year ago is not the person that I am today.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. I'm going to email him after this.
Yeah.
I am.
So CC me in it. No, I'm kidding. But
I will.
It's maybe we'll pick up right where we left off. Maybe those feelings are always going to be there, or maybe it won't. Because her and I talked again like a few months ago, right? And when we did, God damn it.
I've never hooked up with either of those guys either. That's probably the thrill.
But what if you do and it's not what you thought it'd be?
Even better, because then I can let it go.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I've had experiences like that too, where like I've known guys for decades and then I finally sleep with them. And then it's like, I wasn't missing out on shit.
And
I could say that about a few guys.
Sometimes that happens. And that's also a very big and important component and part of a relationship. Like, again, looks get you in the door. Personality keeps you there. But also, there has to be that component of a relationship. And sometimes people just don't mesh well when it comes to that. Doesn't mean that one person is not good at it, because you could rock somebody else's world. But sometimes that it's like you're putting a square peg, kidding, into a round hole, right? But with
it's tough.
It is, but at the same time, it is. Will it pick up right where you left off, right? Because when I did talk to her, because again, we spent some months without communication or anything like that, and then she had reached out to me on like Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talked, and then we had like a video chat, right?
Mm-hmm.
No butterflies, no nothing. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna talk to her, but it wasn't like super excited. I wasn't like nervous or anything like that. So I was like, again, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make a note of that. I'm gonna make a mental note of that and put a pin in it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, I don't like her anymore. I don't feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, okay, that's interesting. Like
I'm over it.
the I want to say the like being anxious, but like the excitement wasn't as much as before. It was just like, oh, and again, maybe because the relationship ran its course, or maybe subconsciously I put it in my head that it's not going to work out. So there was no, let's say, anticipation or anything like that. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, and I enjoyed talking to her, and we had a good time and laughs and whatever. And so it's again, we spoke, and then that was it. And I was like, oh, but I wasn't like afterwards. Oh my god, I miss her. I miss talking to her. It was just like, oh, okay.
I don't
Like it was
remember the
not.
last time I felt that about anybody, to be honest.
And one of the things that I had told her too, and I was just like, I need you to understand something, because when we were talking about, because the question that she asked me was, she's like, do you think you can have sex with someone without any feelings?
Uh-huh.
I was like, yes, I do it all the time.
Uh-huh.
No, but she said, do you think women can have sex without feeling?
Uh-huh.
I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay. She's just like, so again, um, if we're both in agreement that that is something that can happen, it
Yeah.
can just be a physical thing. Like, are you wanting to do, like, let's say, like an open relationship? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Uh-huh.
And I said, how much of this do you want to know? And I said, because the
We're
person
never
that I had
kidding.
lunch with the other day, because I had just had lunch with one of my friends, I was like, I've hooked up with her. I said, we don't anymore. And I was like, and she is 100% a platonic friend. Like, I can still have a friendship and a relationship with someone that I've had sex with and it not be more than that. And I said, she's like, I don't want to know shit about it. And I was like, good, because I don't want to know shit about you talking to anybody else either. It's not going to be like, oh, I went on a date today. And it's just like, no, I don't want to hear it. You do your thing. I'm like, I'll do mine. And I said, but if you get the slightest inclination that you are starting to like someone or starting to kind of, I was like, you need to let me know immediately. And I said, because I'm not trying to waste my time. And I was like, you need to understand how outlandish this is for me already. I said, bitch, you live 5,000 miles away or 8,000, however far it is from California to Venezuela. And I said, it is very hard for people in my area to maintain my attention and for me to want to continue to talk to someone and to intrigue me and interest me. And I said, and you're doing this from so far away.
Mm-hmm.
I've never talked to anyone every single day. And I'm talking like every single day. There wasn't a day that we didn't talk for like 6 months. Met her in September. She came out in January. And then like in like April is again when it kind of started to like fizzle out or whatever. I was like, so you need to let me know immediately, because that is not something that happens. I'm not a person that easily, some people fall in love easily. Some people love to love. Some people love to be in a relationship. Some people, and that's good, fine and dandy. That's just not me. So I was like, I'm not trying to waste my time. And I had told her, I was like, look, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you like, no, you don't gotta worry about it. Like it's all about you. It is on the relationship aspect of it. I said, I may go out and do my thing. And I was like, and that's just, needs. And I said, but you don't have to worry about me liking someone else. I was like, because I'm not even giving myself that opportunity. I was like, all my attention as far as a potential relationship and all that, I was like, is 100% focused on you. Doesn't mean I might go, again, fulfill my physical needs. And I was like, but because I am giving you all of my attention and I'm very particular about who I invest my time in, right? Whether it's like a date, whether it's friendships or whatever it is, that's not something I'm ever going to get back. So that's why I'm not a person who like jumps in and out of relationships. I'm not a person who, what I call monkey bars. You're in one relationship and before you even let go of this one, you're already in another relationship. A lot of people do that. That's not me. Like, you won't see me like, oh, I got a girlfriend, I got another girlfriend, I got a girlfriend, a girlfriend, and a girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
So it's not something I take lightly.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that years down the line or whatever may be on that front.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, give yourself the opportunity to be happy and to
Always.
explore
Yep.
those options.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer in giving opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I deserve to be happy. You deserve to be happy. Everybody deserves to be
Yeah.
happy. And I think a lot of people purposely and either consciously or subconsciously put blocks
Mm.
or do things to stop themselves from that because they want to save themselves from hurt.
Yeah, that's not me. I'll get hurt all day.
So I'm saying, it's not gonna
Yeah.
hurt me.
Yeah, I'm not scared of being heartbroken. I'm not.
What is that saying? It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
Yeah, that's me all day.
Mm-hmm.
That's me all day.
Yeah.
Like, I am a sucker for love. Like, I will give anything I want a chance.
Mm-hmm. Like I'll try it,
Yeah.
and I'm like that with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Food,
Uh-huh.
like relationships. It's like, let me see what it is. I can't say that I don't like it until I've done it.
Right.
So I'm gonna try it.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. Sometimes you just have to take that leap of faith.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's scary,
Yeah.
and it can hurt, and a lot of times it will hurt when it doesn't work out.
Yeah. I mean, I left my boyfriend of 3 years for real estate.
I remember you were telling me that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, no regrets. I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I gave him a chance, and I'm so glad I left him when I left him. Like, I'm so glad for both opportunities.
And you can learn from those experiences.
Yeah, being with him was great while it lasted, but it's even better while it's over.
The relationship ran its course.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes you outgrow people, or
I don't even
um,
think, I don't know. It's just like one of those things, like you just wake up and you're like, I could go without this. That's
yeah,
what it was for me, at least. Like, I was like, I could go without this. Like,
yeah, I've had that conversation before.
you have or
Oh
no?
yeah,
Oh, yeah. Like, I think that's just like part of growing up. Like me 10 years ago, no. Like if you asked me to leave my ex-boyfriend, you couldn't pay me a billion, trillion, bazillion dollars to leave him. No way. No way. No way. Like there was nothing anyone could say or do to make me want to leave that guy alone.
for me, it was someone that I was dating. We weren't like boyfriend girlfriend or anything like that. But I want to be respectful of people's time,
Uh-huh.
and I want to be respectful of their feelings.
Yeah.
And there was this girl that I was dating, and I just didn't feel it, right? And then I will not make a abrupt decision, right?
Oh,
Like just as
you
like,
thought
oh
about it.
no, it's like,
You meditated on it.
I did, like literally
Like,
sat in the bath, and I
yeah.
meditated in the bath.
Yeah.
Rode my bike and thought about it as I was, and I was like, am I still holding on to something from my previous relationship? Am I letting
Oh,
something else influence me?
yeah.
So I didn't want to make a very abrupt decision. So I let it go
Impulse.
like a week, 2 weeks, and I kept on feeling the same thing, kept on feeling it. And then after a while, it's just like, okay, no. And I remember we're sleeping. I was waking up to go to work, and she was laying next to me. And then like I just remember like waking up and like looking at her, and I was like, yeah, it's just not it. Like, and when I
Yeah.
had told her, I was like, hey, we need to have a conversation. And then she's like, okay, like I'll be at your house in a little bit. And I was just like, I think we should meet somewhere. And then she's just like, okay, like, is everything okay? And I was like, yeah. And like, I just, we need to have a conversation. She's like, why? Like, about
Dang.
what? I was just like, I'll tell you when, we see each other. Because I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be respectful and do this in person. She's like, oh my God, like, you're scaring me. And I was just like, we'll talk when I see you. She's like, what is this
I
about?
have
Like,
anxiety just
she's like,
like listening to the story.
is this about us? And I was like, I will tell you when I see you in person.
Yeah, you seem like a tough guy like that.
And again, I want to be up front
Respectful.
and I want to do it in person and I want, but she just kept on pushing it and pushing it. And I was just like, all right, like she didn't want to meet in person. She wanted to like know right then and there.
So you were like, it's over?
And I was just like, hey, I was just like, I like I feel like this is not going to go where I think you may want it to go. And I was like, oh, where we thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was like, it's just not there for me. And then she was like, what can I do? And I'm like, there's nothing that you can do about it. And I was like, it's just not there. Like
Ain't
that it
it?
factor, I was like, it's just not there. And I was like, and you're an amazing person and you're an amazing girl. And again, I want to be respectful of your time and I want to be respectful of your feelings and to let you know that like this is just not, this is not going to work out.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, but like this. And I was just like, because I think it's unfair to lead someone on, to drag things out, or just because it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
When a girl that I dated with when I was in my early 20s, like same thing. And it took me hours to break up with her because I had to explain to her because she was like, is it because we're seeing too much of each other because we had moved in together? And I'm like, that's not it. She's like, are you getting tired of me? I'm like, no, that's not it. She's like, do you want to see other girls? And I'm like, no, that's not it. I just came to the realization and the conclusion that it's not.
Yeah. It's not. It's not there.
It's just not. And again, like I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah, that's good.
And
That's good.
I'm gonna be respectful. And just because you're amazing and you're pretty and you're smart and you do things and you're thoughtful and all that doesn't mean I'm gonna take advantage of that and continue to have you do all these things when I know that it's something that I've thought about and that I know is just we're not the one for each other. Or it also boils down like you're not the one for me. I may be the one for you, but you're not the one for me.
You seem like such a tough one.
It is because it's hard to tell someone that and to be honest with them.
Let's wrap up soon.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm almost done and we've been
Talking for 2 hours.
Anything else you would like to say?
Don't date Diego.
Yikes.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, don't date me. I will be brutally honest with you.
Wait for the Venezuelan girl. She
She's
might
Russian.
bring, or for the Russian girl, you might get the pterodactyls in the near future.
Or somebody else might give me pterodactyls.
Yeah, don't pursue her. You sound like you're wasting your time.
On who?
The lost girl.
The Venezuelan? I'm not pursuing her.
Yeah, I know.
Relationship runs course. So,
Learned a lot about you today, Diego.
as did I learn a lot about you, Miss Rochelle. So, Rochelle, your realtor Rochelle is your Instagram?
Realtor _
Realtor _ Rochelle. For any of your home purchasing and selling needs, give her a call. She is about her business. I will tell you firsthand. She is about her business. So she will definitely help you guys out. Had a very good time. Thank you for doing this. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Diego.
Till next time, folks.